All right, thank you guys. Happy Saturday to you. And if you really end up enjoying this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up by smashing that like button. And if you haven't already joined the Brock Page delegation, please feel free to do that right now by tapping the subscribe button below. Don't forget, guys, if you tell just one person about this YouTube channel at some point during this week, it's going to continue to help this page flourish. And, of course, the Brock Page delegation will most likely grow to 30,000 subs in no time. That is the next goal for us here on the channel. But anyway, guys, we got ourselves a pretty good slate of NBA action here today. We're actually going to start off with a game that I didn't even think would happen. I'm talking about the Nuggets versus the Sixers, 3:05 p.m. Eastern start time in South Philly. And once again, it looks like they decided to actually play this one. A lot of COVID contact tracing issues in Philadelphia this morning, over the past couple of days for that matter. And once again, it looked like they weren't even going to play this one. But regardless, it's on. They're going to play it. And the Nuggets are the 5-point favorite on the road here. That number's probably going to continue to climb. Total's 222 flat. And if you like the Sixers, who are typically unbeatable at home here, they're plus $1.75 for an outright victory on the money line. Now, guys, real quick, we won 2 out of our last 3 daily best plays on patreon.com/BrockPage. And if you want to unlock today's daily best play, it's only going to cost you just $1.99. We're also hitting at 63% in our last 16 daily best plays in that same category as well. We currently have a community of over 850 people just like you who are signed up and active on that page. And if you want to join those folks and get in on the action, I'd love to have you. Link for that site is in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. So here's the deal with the Sixers. I think Seth Curry had some COVID issues earlier in the week. And now Philly's scrambling with their COVID protocol when it comes to, quarantining, contact tracing, all that good stuff. I can't even keep up with all the jargon that they use. But there's a long list of guys who are listed as questionable right now for Philly. I have no idea who's going to play or not, so it'd be helpful if you guys would let us all know in the comment section below as we get closer to tip-off. But anyway, Joel Embiid, Danny Green, Tobias Harris, and Shake Milton, they're all listed as questionable for this 3 p.m. Eastern tip-off start. Reed, Poirier, and Ferguson are all questionable as well. Now, based on the fact that they did decide to play the game here today for some reason, I'm actually pretty optimistic that we'll at least see a couple of those key players playing the game here today. Now, once again, guys, Philly's 5-0 straight up at home this season. They were unbeatable at home last season as well. 120 points a night they score at the Wells Fargo Center this season. They're taking on a Denver squad here who failed to cover the number in their last 2 straight, and they're just 2-6 against the spread overall for the season. Now, Denver's in the bottom 5 in offensive rebounding, and they find themselves allowing 117 points a game. Denver's also allowing their opponents to shoot 40% from beyond the arc defensively. Now, total-wise, tons of overs for this fairly healthy Nuggets team. Just Michael Porter Jr. out on COVID patrol. But anyway, the Nuggets saw 7 out of their last 8 ball games get over the posted total. So I'm going to assume the public's going to, most likely get crushed here in this spot. Seen a couple different instances this season where people react to COVID absences and then the team ends up covering anyway. So believe it or not, I'm actually going to lean toward the Philadelphia 76ers plus 5 and the over 222 in that game. Before we go ahead and move on here, guys, just want to take another quick timeout and welcome you to the video. Got some lines and personal leans out here for Saturday's NBA action. Happy Saturday to you. Hopefully you guys had a great start to your weekend. Hopefully you're not too hungover here today. But if you are, no big deal because we got, 3 big NFL games here today. But anyway, before we dive into some more free content, I just have to quickly remind you once again that we won 2 out of our last 3 daily best plays on patreon.com/BrockPage. And if you want to access today's daily best play, it's only going to cost you just $1.99. We're also hitting at 63% in our last 16 daily best plays in that same category as well. And just remember, guys, when you sign up for a membership on Patreon, you're going to get access to all the lesser expensive memberships absolutely free. So once again, when you sign up for one of my memberships on Patreon, you're going to instantly get access to all the lesser expensive tiers absolutely free. The cheaper memberships are included with your purchase. Now, if you end up getting the $1.99 package, well, that's the least expensive package, so there's nothing else included with that except for just the daily best play. But if you get the more expensive packages, you kind of catch my drift here. And for those who are wondering what the difference is between my free picks here on YouTube and what I do on my Patreon site, well, what I do on Patreon is I make life a lot easier for you as I break down the daily card and focus in on just 3 to 4 premium selections per day. They're my personal plays, games that I personally have action on, and I'll tell you this much, I'm having a lot more success betting on games that way versus wagering on every single game on the slate, side and total, like I do here with my free leans on YouTube. Now, once again, we currently have a community of over 800, let's try that again. We currently have a community of over 850 people just like you who are signed up and active on that site. And if you want to join those folks and get in on the action, link for that page is in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. And moving on, guys, we're going to take a look at the Heat versus the Wizards. 7 p.m. Eastern tip-off in the nation's capital. The Heat's -6 away from home. Total's 230 flat. Now, the Heat struggled away from home last season. And unfortunately for Miami fans, the start of this year hasn't been much different. They were 0-2 straight up on the road this season, and they ranked dead last in road three-point percentage. Miami's averaging just 95 points a game when they travel. They're taking on a Washington club who successfully covered the point spread in 3 out of their last 4, and they score over 119 points a night. Now, Bradley Beal scoring 35 points a game, 5 rebounds, 5 assists for the shooting guard. Meanwhile, big center Thomas Bryant is also averaging 16 a night, along with 7 boards and a couple assists. Now, Washington is connecting on nearly 49% of their shots from the field. And when it comes to the total on this one, Washington saw 4 out of their last 5 get over the posted number, 6-2 to the over in their last 8. Meanwhile, Miami saw 8 out of their last 10 meetings with the Wizards get over the line themselves. So with all that said and done, I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the underdog Wizards +6 in the over 230. All right, next matchup. I think we skipped it when we were scrolling here, but we are going to cover it right now. It is going to be the Suns versus the Pacers. Should be a good matchup here, guys. That's a 7 p.m. Eastern tip-off at the Bankers Life Fieldhouse. Now, the Pacers are the 3-point favorite at home. Total's 215.5. And if you like the Phoenix Suns in an upset on the road here, they're plus $1.35 for an outright win. Now, the Suns have lost 2 out of their last 3 ball games. And one of those losses was a 5-point defeat to the Detroit Pistons. Now, the Suns also failed to cover the number in 2 out of those 3 ball games as well, and they currently find themselves in the bottom 10 in the NBA in offensive rebounding. Phoenix is averaging only 107 points per contest on the road. They haven't been all that great offensively, although defensively tough to score on them. But anyway, the Suns are in a second of a back-to-back here on the road. The Pacers on the other side, well, they haven't played since Wednesday, so they're well rested. And that Wednesday game, that was a solid 7-point victory over Houston, where they actually held the Rockets to just 107 total points. Now, the Pacers are on a 2-game winning streak, and they find themselves 6-2 straight up overall for the season. Indiana successfully covered the point spread in 75% of those ball games. Now, Malcolm Brogdon is scoring 24 points a night for the Pacers, 4 rebounds and 7 assists a game for the point guard. Brogdon's also averaging a couple of steals a night as well. Meanwhile, Domantas Sabonis is also scoring 21 points a night himself, 11 boards and 6 assists for the 6'11 forward. Now, Indiana's in the top 3 in offensive field goal percentage, and they score 115 points a game on average. Now, total-wise, when it comes to the number in this one, 3 out of Indy's last 4 stayed under the posted total, 4-2 to the under at the Bankers Life Fieldhouse. Meanwhile, the Suns are a perfect 5-0 to the under when they travel themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Indiana Pacers -3 and the under 215.5. All right, next matchup. It is going to be Hawks versus the Hornets, 7 p.m. Eastern start time in Charlotte. Atlanta's minus 5.5 away from home. Totals 227 and a hook. Atlanta's a perfect 4-0 against the spread on the road this season. 3-1 straight up in those 4 covers. They're scoring over 125 points a night when they travel, and they rank in the top 3 in offensive rebounding on the road. Trae Young scoring 26 points a game, 4 rebounds and 8 assists for Trae. Meanwhile, John Collins is scoring 18 points a night himself, 8 boards and a couple assists for the power forward from Wake Forest. Surprisingly, Atlanta's the best in the association right now in defending the 3-ball. They're also in the top 10 in defensive rebounding on the road. Now they're taking on a Charlotte team who they're still going to have to go to work without Cody Zeller and possibly Nick Richards tonight. Now the Hornets have lost 2 of 3 at home, and they rank in the bottom 3 in offensive field goal percentage. So certainly some problems here for Hornets backers, some problematic areas. Charlotte scoring just 102 points a game on their home court as well. And when it comes to the total in this one, 6 out of Charlotte's last 8 ball games stayed under the line. 3-0 to the under officially at home. Meanwhile, 3 out of Atlanta's last 4 road games stayed under the number themselves. 6-2 to the under overall for the season. I'm going to lean toward the Atlanta Hawks minus 5.5 and the under 227 and a hook. All right, next ball game. It is going to be Spurs versus the Timberwolves, and that's going to be an 8 p.m. Eastern tip-off. The San Antonio Spurs are minus 5 on the road here. Totals 232.5. Now, the Spurs are playing some pretty good basketball on the road here. They're a perfect 4-0 against the spread when they travel. 3-1 straight up in those contests. The Spurs are scoring 115 points a game away from home, and they're knocking down 88% of their free throws as a team in that same category. Now, DeMar DeRozan scoring over 19 a night, 6 boards and 7 assists for the forward. Meanwhile, DeJounte Murray scoring over 16 points a game himself, 7 boards and 5 assists for Murray. Now, we're looking at a San Antonio Spurs team who's in the top 10 in defending the 3-ball on the road. They are taking on a Minnesota squad who's last in shooting the 3-ball, not very good shooting the 3-pointers themselves, very low 3-point percentage. They also rank last in, what did they rank last in? Defensive field goal percentage as well. So let's try it again. They're taking on a Minnesota squad who's last in shooting the 3-ball, last in defensive field goal percentage as well, collectively bad on both ends of the court. Now, the T-Wolves have lost their last 6 straight, and they went just 1-5 against the spread in those ball games. Okogie's still out. Towns and Noel are questionable. Minnesota's giving up a staggering 122 points per contest. Now, total-wise, Minnesota's last 4 straight all got over the number. San Antonio's 3-0 to the over in their last 3 themselves. Give me the San Antonio Spurs minus 5 and the over 232.5. All right, next contest, it is going to be Cavaliers versus the Bucks, 8 p.m. Eastern tip-off in Milwaukee. The Bucks are the 13-point favorite at home, totals 222 flat. And as dominant as the Bucks are statistically, they've actually been rather lackluster against the number this season. They failed to cover the number in 2 out of their last 3, and they're just 4-5 against the number overall for the season. Now, defensively, the Bucks are in the bottom 10 in points allowed, and they also find themselves shooting only 71% from the stripe at home. Now, Connaughton and Craig are both questionable for tonight's ball game. Milwaukee's taking on a Cleveland squad who gives up just 103 points per contest, and they rank in the top 10 in defensive field goal percentage. Now, Colin Sexton is scoring over 25 points a game, a couple of boards and 4 assists for the point guard. Now, Sexton's a little bit banged up here with a foot, so keep an eye on him, but I'm optimistic he'll see some action today given the 1.5-point line movement toward the Cavs since this one opened up. Now, Andre Drummond's also scoring 17 points a night himself for Cleveland, 14 boards and 3 assists for the big man. Drummond's also averaging 2 steals and a couple of blocks a game for the Cavs as well. Cleveland is in the top 10 defensively in points allowed on the road, and when it comes to the total in this one, Cleveland saw 6 out of their last 10 meetings with Milwaukee get over the posted number. Meanwhile, the Bucks are 4-1 to the over at the Fiserv Forum, 7-2 to the over for the entire season, pretty much at any location, whether they're home or away. So with all that said and done, we're going to lean toward yet another underdog on this video here. Give me the underdog Cleveland Cavs plus 13 in the over 222. Heading out. Okay, love you.
Bye.
PDA.
Sorry.
On YouTube.
Whatever.
Love you. Have a good day. Don't spend too much money now. I said, don't spend too much money now.
I'll spend all the money.
Yeah, you will spend all the monies, won't you? All right. Moving on. Where are we at here, guys? Magic versus the Mavericks. 8:30 p.m. Eastern start time in Dallas. Now, the Mavs are the 6-point favorite at home. Totals 217 and a hook. And if you like Orlando in an upset, in a second of a back-to-back here, they're plus $1.95 for some money line cash. Now, despite playing 2 days in a row, the Magic's been pretty good away from home this season. 3-1 against the spread on the road, 3-1 straight up in those ball games. They're in the top 10 in offensive rebounding on the road, and they're actually shooting 88% from the stripe in that same category. Nick Vucevic is scoring over 21 points a game, 11 boards and 3 assists for the big man. Didn't call him Vic Vucevic today. But anyway, Terrence Ross is also scoring 19 a night for Orlando. 2 rebounds and a couple of steals off the bench. They're taking on a Dallas team who's in the bottom 10 in offensive rebounding, and they shoot only 30% from beyond the arc at home. Now, Trey Burke is questionable for the Mavs, and it looks like Brunson, Finney-Smith, and Richardson are on COVID protocol right now themselves. Now, total-wise, when it comes to the number in this one, Dallas saw 4 out of their last 6 stay under the posted total. 2-0 to the under officially as the home team. Meanwhile, Orlando's last 5 straight all stayed under the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Orlando Magic plus 6 and the under 217.5. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into our next and final matchup for this show on the West Coast here. It is going to be Blazers versus the Kings. That's going to be at 10 p.m. Eastern tip at the Golden One Center in Sacramento. The Blazers are -6 away from home. Totals 236 flat. Portland's in the top 5 in scoring, top 10 in shooting the 3-ball. Dame Lillard is scoring 28 points a night, 5 rebounds, 7 assists for the guard. Meanwhile, C.J. McCollum scoring 27 points a game himself, 4 boards, 5 assists, and a couple of steals for the Lehigh grad. They're taking on a Sacramento squad who failed to cover the point spread in their last 4 straight themselves, just 1-4 straight up in their last 5. Now, the Kings give up 121 points a game and nearly 51% shooting from the field. Now, total-wise, when it comes to the number in this one, Sacramento's 6-3 to the under in their last 9, hosting the Blazers, if you're into historical trends. Meanwhile, Portland saw 2 out of their last 3 stay under the line themselves, throwing out the Minnesota game. I'm going to lean toward the Portland Trailblazers -6 and the under 236. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into our quick pick recap, once again brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage, where we are hitting at 63% in our last 16 daily best plays on that site. And today's daily best play can be unlocked for just $1.99. I like the Sixers +5 over 222. I like the Wizards +6 over 230. I'm leaning toward the Pacers -3 under 215.5. I also like the Atlanta Hawks -5.5 under 227 and a hook. I like the Spurs -5 over 232.5. I also like the Cleveland Cavaliers +13 over 222. I'm leaning toward the Orlando Magic +6 under 217.5. And last but certainly not least, please give this video a thumbs up right now if you enjoyed it. Please feel free to subscribe right now as well. And please don't forget to tell at least one friend about my channel this week. I'd be greatly appreciative if you did that for me. Our last pick here is the Portland Trailblazers -6 and the under 2... let's try that again. The Portland Trailblazers -6 and the under 236. Now we're about to dive into some shout-outs here, guys. And if you want to get a shout-out here on Brock Page Productions, all you have to do is drop me a line in the comments section below. All of today's shout-outs are derived from my YouTube comments section yesterday. So I typically, give my shout-outs to the people who write my favorite comments for that particular day. Most of the times they're positive comments. Sometimes the negatives are just so funny that I just got to give you credit. They make me laugh. I think there was a guy that used to say, hey, dude, your picks suck, and then they put a link for a fart sound, and you click the link, and it farts. But anyway, here are some shout-outs for you guys. Shout-out to Armando Garcia, Paul Hilliard, Crack Boston, Nadir Elias. Shout-out to The Real Deal, Simon Samir, John Fortner, Bo Swanky, Mike Wilkerson, and last but certainly not least, got to give a shout-out to my good friend, Troy S. Now, guys, if you are one of the folks, one of the lucky folks who got a shout out here today, don't forget to show your friends and your family that you are now YouTube famous. And if you didn't hear your name called in the shout outs today, unfortunately, just keep commenting and plugging away and giving me your kind words in the comment section on YouTube. I'll eventually get to each and every one of you with regards to giving you a shout out. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. If you get a package here today, just keep in mind we'll bill you the day you sign up, and then the first of every month following that. Also keep in mind if you end up getting a package here today, all the lesser expensive memberships are included with your purchase here today. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Saturday to you. Best of luck to you, and I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.